A disadvantage, or disad, is the bread and butter to the neg strategy. Because an aff proposes advantages to their plan, the neg can introduce disadvantages to it that prove that doing the plan is a bad idea. There are 4 distinct parts to a disadvantage. Uniqueness, which is usually a card or two describing what is happening now. The link, which describes what the aff will do to change what is happening now. The internal link, which connects the link to the impact with a description of what occurs after the aff's changes. And the impact, which is a bad thing that happens as a consequence and includes analysis of why it is bad. For example, take a look at this Russian expansionism disad from the November-December LD topic. The uniqueness story is saying that in the status quo, the US has strong investments in the liquefied natural gas market, enough so that Russian influence in that sector is negligible. It also specifically says that subsidies go directly towards agencies that invest in Russian competitors. The EESI and Stern cards are a mix of uniqueness, link, and internal link because it implies that without these programs, European and Eastern Bloc countries would be reliant on Russian gas, giving Russia the opportunity to exert more control. Lastly, Payne and Foster impacts it out by saying that Russian expansionism will result in an increased likelihood of nuclear war. When going for a disad, remember that you are telling a story at the end of the day. Don't just extend arguments relying solely on labels like uniqueness. Rather, understand how the different components work together to create a convincing story as to why the aff is a bad idea. Make sure to include lots of impact weighing. Why does a disad outweigh the aff's impacts? Does your impact magnify the risk of theirs and should therefore be prioritized? This is where your research and quick thinking skills will pay off. If you're the aff, there are many ways to answer a disad. Answer the components of the negative story, and here are some but not all of the tricks that you can use. First is non-uniqueness, which says that the impact should have already happened. Uniqueness overwhelms the link, says that there are so many factors in a status quo preventing the impact from happening that the action of the plan would not actually trigger a major change from the status quo. No link articulates that we do not actually cause a link to happen, whereas link turn says that they say we cause X to happen, but we actually prevent it from happening, or vice versa. Impact defense articulates that the impact is not actually that bad, and impact turn illustrates that they say the impact is bad, but it's actually good, or vice versa. Straight turning is where you only put turns on a disad, but never put both an impact and a link turn on the same flow. You would essentially be saying that the aff prevents a good impact from happening, which is in fact a disadvantage to the affirmative. Above all else, make sure you use your affirmative. There is never a single way to answer a disad because each aff is so unique, so make sure to understand your research and come up with creative avenues to outwit the negative. Remember, you are telling a story as well, so the better your research, the better your debates. Now that you know the basics from both sides, make sure to write extensions from your arguments and block out common answers. Make sure to write an overview that is a brief summary of your disads. We will be making a video later about how to write overviews. If you want to practice looking over and understanding a disad, check out the annotated Russia disad in the description. Good luck!